What it do, cuckolds? It's your boy, the Hater, and it's time for a late night vid. Hater late night, cuckolds, but also Hater on the road up in this mud. So today's video is going to be 25 reasons why WrestleMania will absolutely suck. All right, without further ado, let's just get to it, right? Reason number one, no meaningful matches, all right? We already have a sense of what the card is probably going to look like. More on that a little bit later. But none of the matches are meaningful. Some of you may be thinking, but Hater, John Cena turned heel. And that just shows that you don't understand what meaning is and that you've been gaslit by the WWE to believe that this is a bigger deal than it is, right? Just the fact that Cena turned heel does not make the match meaningful, right? Now, that match specifically is obviously the most meaningful of the matches because John Cena might become the next world champion, which is obviously a massive deal. But beyond that, like we're talking about Cookie Rhodes here. And outside of that match, all of the other matches are completely meaningless. Reason number two, there's not enough stars, cucks. Aside from John Cena and The Rock, who is not wrestling as far as we know right now, nobody in this WrestleMania card is going to be a star in the context of wrestling. It's a bunch of mid-card nobodies doing a bunch of mid-card nobody things and wrestling another batch of mid-card nobodies, right? Reason number three, Cookie Rhodes is in the main event for the third year in a row. This is something that WWE is going to have to rely on for the foreseeable future. They can only make one main eventer at a time, and then they have to, grind that out until that shit gets old, right? Cody Rhodes, in my opinion, hasn't done enough this year to deserve to main event WrestleMania. I don't think he ever should have, if I'm being completely honest, right? But nevertheless, he's going to be in the main event. We've seen this twice now. Who the fuck cares? Reason number four, Travis Scott, motherfuckers. Travis Scott is somehow going to be involved, and I don't like his ass. Speaking of unnecessary involvement, reason number five, The Rock's forced and unnecessary involvement. This match doesn't get any better if The Rock comes in there to rock bottom Cody Rhodes at some point. This match doesn't get any better if The Rock comes in there to rock bottom Cody Rhodes and The Undertaker stops him. None of this shit is necessary, it's forced, and nobody could possibly care. Reason number six, there will certainly be way too many commercials. You know what I mean? And that's just a fact of life. You're going to be reminded to do your taxes if you haven't done them yet, etc., etc. All that other shit, probably a Slim Jim commercial. You know what I'm talking about. Reason number seven, it doesn't feel like WrestleMania. It feels like another random-ass pay-per-view. Reason number eight, a lot of things feel routine. Like, for example, you can rest assured that there will be probably 5 or 6 complete throwaway matches. I'm talking a match like Street Profits and Lashley versus Final Testament last year. You can expect a lot of that happening. Reason number 9, a lot of things feel forced. I'll give you an example. We had Shinsuke Nakamura become the United States champion for absolutely no reason. At the end of the day, LA Knight became the US champion again, which begs the question of what was the point of Nakamura becoming US champion? Well, the reason why this happened, clearly, is because of this forced nature of the WWE focusing a lot of things in WrestleMania and having to effectively create, some changes to make things make sense, right? For example, they overcorrect by making LA Knight the US champion again, basically putting him in the same position as he was last year, right? This feels forced. Clearly, LA Knight is over, right? Clearly, he's been over for over a year, right? And he's still going to be in this position. They want to put him in the card because he is over, and they need a reason to. So what do? I'll put the belt on him, right? That's forced, and I don't like it. Reason number 10. Roman Reigns is now a mid-carder, right? The guy that main evented the last 5 WrestleManias or whatever the fuck it was, is now going to be in a mid-card match. Even if he closes the show on night 1, which in my opinion is worse than being late in the card on night 2. I don't care if they frame it as a main event, it's not, right? Roman Reigns is now a mid-card nobody, and he's going to have a mid-card nobody match that's going to have 0 consequences against someone like Seth Rollins or CM Punk or both. Who the hell knows and who the hell cares? Reason number 11. Gunther will be unnecessarily, but also necessarily involved, right? Unnecessarily because nobody could possibly want him to be involved, but necessarily because he is the World Heavyweight Champion. And in my opinion, Gunther is not a main event type wrestler, and he sure as shit, again, in my opinion, is not someone that should be in any WrestleMania at all, unless it's on the pre-show or some bull. Reason number 12. The women's title matches are going to be uneventful and boring, right? We have Tiffany Stratton going in as champion and Io Sky going in as champion, right? It doesn't matter who wins the Rumble or the Chamber if the champions are these people, these jobbers, right? Then, reason number 13, there is no indication as to what will happen with the mid-card titles. Moments ago, I said that LA Knight is probably going to be forced into this card somehow, but as of now, there is no indication. Maybe it'll be LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu, like we're supposed to care about this, you know? It doesn't matter to me at all, but there's no indication as to what's going to happen. Reason number 14, there is no indication as to what will happen with the tag team titles, right? Once again, they shifted. They made the Street Profits the tag team champions for SmackDown, and it's like, who cares? You're just forcing them into the card. It's probably going to be some multi-tag team match nobody could care about, and it doesn't matter anyways, right? Which brings us to reason 15. Nobody cares one way or another about these titles or the mid-card titles, including the women's mid-card titles. Reason number 16. There are no special attractions. Previous WrestleManias saw big-time attractions. Even if they weren't big-time attractions, they became big-time attractions because they were correctly booked. A great example would be Big Show versus Aki Bono. There was more build-up to Big Show versus Aki Bono than there has been for Cookie Rhodes versus John Cena. And Big Show versus Aki Bono, as a result, is memorable. Even though it was a sumo match, nobody could possibly care. But at the very least, you're like, all right, I've seen Big Show do a lot of things. Why not have him do sumo? That sounds cool, right? It's different. It's interesting. They presented Aki Bono as a big deal, and the match turned into a big deal. This year, we don't have that. And if Aki Bono is something you don't like, you can think of other situations. Big Show versus Mayweather. The Big Show was great at these, right? Shane versus AJ. Shane versus Undertaker, right? These types of matches. Stone Cold even versus Cookie Owens, you know? These types of special events or special attractions, right? Donald Trump being at WrestleMania. Mike Tyson being at WrestleMania. Now we're lucky to see like the 6th place bull rider from some bullshit bull riding league that nobody care about at all. Reason number 17. Cena's last WrestleMania match, as far as we know. I believe that he might have another one in like 10 years when he's like 57. Some tag match or some bullshit coming out of retirement for one more match. I could see that happening, you know. But as of now, Cena's last WrestleMania match is him as a heel, right? This is not a good way to end the career. This is why the heel turn is too late. Because why would he end his career as a heel? You know, if he had heel tendencies, he should have done it before. Furthermore, in my opinion, Cena doesn't have a chance of winning. So there you have it. Reason number 18 kind of goes along with this. It's too predictable, motherfucks. It's too predictable. But we'll talk about that when we do the predictions. As I can stand here, you know what I mean? Like, for example, I could see Braun Breaker defending his title successfully against, like, I don't know, like a Sheamus or a Ludwig Kaiser or something, you know? That kind of shit. That's what I mean. Reason number 19. The card has yet to even begin being set beyond the main titles. We only have like 5 weeks left, and there's no clear indication at all. Now, I'm not talking about making the matches and booking the matches, right? If they have a plan, like, I don't know, Jacob Fat Poo versus LA Knight, yeah, that's one thing, right? But even in the storyline, this hasn't started yet, right? It's unclear, for example, what Jacob Fatu's role will be at WrestleMania. You know, a lot of times you'll know, right? So, like, it's going to be him versus Braun Strowman. Then who knows? Then maybe afterwards it's him versus LA Knight. But the point is, right, usually around this time, you have an indicator as to what's going to happen, right? So, for example, like Jericho versus Shawn Michaels, you know, the match was made later, but you knew where the match was going, right? You knew what was happening before it needed to happen, right? You could see, a great example would be Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels, right? That match didn't get booked until later But for weeks, they were attacking each other. So you saw where their story was going. Now it's like it could be anybody versus anybody. You know, that's probably by design because they don't trust anybody. But, you know, that's not a good thing in my opinion. Reason number 20. There are no actual storylines at all, motherfucks. At all. This goes back to reason 1, no meaningful matches. But this was a little bit harder because the reality is, for example, let's look at the main event. That's a meaningful match because Cena might become the world champion. But what's the storyline? What's the storyline? The storyline is The Rock doesn't want Cody to win because Cena is his champion and Cody refused him. That's a storyline? That's not a storyline. That's just what happened last year, happening again. The only way the storyline makes sense is if Cookie Rhodes comes out and says, I'm retarded, and I believe The Rock, even though he beat me like a mule last year in the rain. Reason number 21. There will undoubtedly be a lot of bullshit celebrities that take up screen time, even though they're not main event type attractions. Reason number 22. It's 2 nights for no reason. Cuckolds, it could just be one night. Especially this year where I feel like each night is going to have like 5 or 6 matches. It really could be one night. Reason number 23. None of the matches that have been made right now, and in my opinion, it's impossible to make any other matches that will be WrestleMania level matches. At this point, Cena versus Orton would be a WrestleMania level match, right? The Rock versus Cena would be a WrestleMania level match, obviously. Rock versus Cookie would get there almost because it's The Rock, right? Rock versus anybody could probably do that, but Cena versus Cookie Rhodes is not a WrestleMania worthy match because these guys have crossed paths before with Cena just burying this jobber multiple times. So there you have it. Reason number 24. Nobody wants to actually promote WrestleMania, right? Have you noticed how there's very little promotion? It's just people pointing at signs, but nobody actually cares that it's happening in less than 5 weeks. And finally, reason number 25, a personal favorite. The main event will undoubtedly, somehow, one way or another, be screwy. We're going to get a screwy finish, or we're going to get a lot of people interfering, and Cookie Rhodes, in my opinion, overcoming the odds, right? That's what's going to happen, and you can take it to the bank as far as I'm concerned, right? Someone's going to help Cody Rhodes out, and this really makes Cody Rhodes look weak. He can't overcome the odds by himself, right? Nobody helped Edge and, Daniel Bryan in overcoming, Roman Reigns, right? But for some reason, Cody gets the help. So there you have it, cucks. That being said, this has been 25 reasons why WrestleMania will suck ass.